Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be front and center. And you can watch this program on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, that's Radio Pilipinas World Service. Also on our audio streaming through Evox PBS receiver app, also on our shortwave broadcast through shortwave frequencies. That's 12.020 megahertz, 15.640 megahertz, and 17.665 megahertz. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin front and center on Radio Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radio Pilipinas World Service.
Okay, as the situation in the Strait of Hormuz continues to tighten the global oil supplies, the Philippines find itself at a critical crossroads. So, how protected is our local energy mix, and what happens if the taps stay closed? And as we know, the Iran, or in some news over the past few days or hours, the Strait of Hormuz is currently closed as ordered by the Iranian military or Iranian government. So, how protected our the energy mix of our country? So, to help us break down the data and the policy response, joining me now is the one of the leading voice in the energy sector and also an executive board member of the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute of the University of the Philippines, Attorney Jose J. Layog Jr. Good morning, Attorney Layog. Thank you so much for joining us in the program, Front and Center on Radio Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning, Jerome, and of course, good morning to all your listeners and all your watchers. Good morning po to
Good morning.
everyone.
Okay, so all right, so we're now witnessing one of the should I say catastrophic events in the global oil trading or history. But first, before we go down to the specific topic that we are going to discuss today, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers here in the Philippines and to our Filipino diasporas overseas, please tell us what is the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute all about, and what are the roles that the institute is providing to the government?
Yes, thank you for that, Jerome. Well, PERPI, or the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute, was established under a law passed by Congress, and it was spearheaded by Senator Win Gatchalian. No? The primary purpose of PERPI is to provide the government an independent arm, no, in terms of research and policy for energy purposes. No? So there's a lofty objective to make sure that all our research and policies are driven by independent research and, of course, on the basis of independent reports. No? And that's the main driver behind the establishment of PERPI.
Okay, so it's all about the research and also providing policies. Oh, I'm sorry, providing some policies that you can recommend to the government when it comes in the energy sector. And now, Attorney Layog, the situation in the Middle East is ongoing, and I believe the institute is will be of great help right now when it comes to recommending some policies in the energy sector.
That's correct, Jerome. No? But of course, we'd like to laud the Department of Energy because prior to what's going on, they have been moving towards achieving or at least attempting to achieve in energy self-sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think everyone is aware that this government has been pushing for all the renewables, no, and the
Mm-mm.
transition to cleaner forms of energy. No, and the DOE has been doing that for the last so many years, and that's why we appreciate what they've been doing.
Mm-mm.
This particular event, no, this Middle East crisis precisely underpins that need to transition.
Okay.
No?
But of course, Attorney Layug, our country is still oil dependent. Although the energy department is pushing programs and at the same time incentivize the renewable energy sector. But at the end of the day, it's we're still relying on oil. So and also this Middle East crisis is currently happening right now. So, how do you see this oil crisis affecting the Philippine energy sector?
Well, Jerome, definitely, if this goes on in the next weeks, we will have some supply issues. No? Our buffer, based on existing rules
Mm.
and based on data confirmed by the DOE, we have about a 50 to 60-day oil supply stocks. No?
Oil
Uh,
reserve.
Oil, well, not reserve, but stocks from the private sector. No?
Mm.
We don't have oil reserves. No?
Oh,
The
okay.
government,
Okay,
yeah, the government does not keep any.
that comes from private sector only, and
That's right.
and the stockpile will last for a maximum of 60 days.
Around 50 to 60 days based on existing contracts that our oil players have, no, with their suppliers. No? So the problem really is if this issue continues in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we may have some issues. No? We may have some supply constraints.
Okay. So, with that premise, Attorney Layog, what should the government, if the oil supply runs out by day 60?
Right. Well, the government has started that already, with the announcement of a 4-day work week. That's one. No, there are many
Mm-mm.
other steps that we can do. No,
Mm-mm.
of course, securing supply right now is important.
Mm-mm.
It's important for the government to start talking to other governments, particularly those from whom we buy, our oil, because it's important that we get allocation.
Mm-mm.
The other day you saw some announcements from China that they will stop exports already. No, a portion of our refined products come from China. No?
Right.
And as you mentioned, the Strait of Hormuz is has a lot of problems. No, not too many people can go through that.
Cannot
Uh,
pass through on that particular body of water,
that's right,
and the
and
supply and the oil supply in that region is approximately 20%.
that's correct. No?
Mm,
And we source 90% of all our oil requirements from the Middle East. No?
mm,
Whether crude oil or refined, because even if we buy finished products from our neighbors, the source of their oil is still Middle East. No?
mm,
So we will have some issues if the problems continue in the Strait of Hormuz. That's why at some point in time we need to be very drastic in our measures to reduce consumption of oil
mm.
products.
And one of them is the 4-day work week and some other measures that the government will implement in the next coming days. Should this crisis protracts, but President Marcos Jr. said that the oil stockpile will last for 50 to 60 days. Yet there's a proposal coming from Senate or Senators Vicente Soto III, and he filed this a bill creating a 90-day national petroleum reserve to cushion oil supply shocks. But also, I read some reports that some countries has this national petroleum reserve that's amounting to hundreds of millions of I think barrels, just to cope up with the situation and to stabilize the oil prices. So And realistically, I would like to ask this, Attorney Layog, how long should we have our oil reserves to help the oil prices steady, or we hope to roll back? And is it good to that we should have a nationalized or a public petroleum oil or fuel reserves?
Well, it's a very good question. Actually, it's always a question that we face whenever something happens in the Middle East.
Mm,
No? If you go back to history of our oil requirements, we passed all the way long before the Downstream Deregulation Act, no?
mm,
And we liberalized, our industry to
mm,
make sure that it's the private sector that handles that. Oil reserves, or we call it strategic petroleum reserve, no, is a measure that we can adopt depending on circumstances. No, it's not easy to buy and store oil. No, that's going to be a strain on our national treasury.
mm, mm,
So it's only under extreme circumstances that we should do that. No, because we rely anyway on the private sector to make sure they have their supply.
mm,
So we don't need to do that until extreme circumstances, but given what's going on, we need to start thinking about petroleum reserve, no?
okay.
Because of what's going on.
Mm. And we should start to establish this national oil reserve right now, Attorney Layog, despite amid the challenges on supply of oil. Should we start this as soon as possible?
Well, definitely what we should start is government to government discussion.
Mm-mm.
The national government should be talking to specific governments that can provide that reserve. We don't need to stockpile at this time, but we have to start discussions with the government that can supply that to us.
Mm, just a government to government, and not multiple governments that we have to deal with. Just one government that has a steady oil supply. Is that if I got it right, Attorney Layog?
That's correct. And it has to be a supply that's not coming from Middle East, no, because the Strait of Hormuz is a problem now. No? So it's really a strategic discussion with a particular supplier. No, because right now,
Mm-mm.
anyway, the private players are assuring us that they have a 50 to 60-day supply. No,
Mm-mm.
it's only when they start telling us there's no more supply, or at least they foresee that, no,
Mm.
ahead, that we really need to start considering a strategic petroleum reserve.
Mm, okay. All right. Okay. So, but the institution, which is the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute, actively campaigns for what we call energy contingency plan. So, what is this plan all about, and why is this important and relevant as of this time, Attorney Layug?
Yeah, based on experience, Jerome, no, when I served the DOE way back in 2010,
Mm,
there was already this proposal to put up an oil contingency plan. No, I think what we need to do is to make sure that we have a fixed plan where all we need to do is push the buttons whenever certain circumstances arise. This time we don't have it. No? So
mm,
what we are suggesting now is for the government to consider an energy contingency plan, not just for oil, but one that will address also our electricity needs. So that whenever a Strait of Hormuz incident arises again, it happened in 2011, by the way. All we need to do is look at the plan and immediately use it to make sure that we know what to do. No? So the plan includes specific measures. No? That's why we're so happy that the current government immediately ordered a 4-day work week,
mm,
no? As a contingency measure. There are others that we can do. For example, shifting to electric vehicles, no?
mm,
Maybe carpooling at some point in time, no?
mm,
Addressing or maybe expanding the coding system in major highways, and definitely, reduction
mm, mm.
of travels for government agencies. Now that's going to help a lot.
And those are recommendations, so that we can save oil and then energy. And also, you mentioned about the oil and electricity, because oil and electricity are will can work together, or will work together, and will not work without one of them. So it should be both addressed, the oil supply and also the electricity needs, Attorney Layog.
That's correct. No,
Mm,
oil unfortunately is still essential part of our day-to-day lives. No,
mm,
the
mm,
Philippines consumes about 473,000 barrels of oil per day. No, and the sad part there is almost 95% we import all of it. No,
mm,
because our current oil production comes from Galok. It's only about 1,200 barrels of oil per day. No, so
mm, mm.
we need to do drastic measures how we can close the gap there.
Yeah, but also there's a Malampaya gas natural field in the picture. Recently, we just discovered more oil or gas reserve there in that particular area. So would that help addressing our energy issue here in the country?
Definitely, Jerome. No, we need more companies like Prime to spend a lot of money look for oil and gas. No, we're so happy Prime found additional deposits, no, in Malampaya, but of course that's not enough to fill the requirements, no, of the Philippines. We need more. No, and
Mm.
we're hoping that more companies like Prime will come to the Philippines and do oil and gas exploration.
Okay, so that's good, and we are highly encouraging those companies to explore our resources, so that we can find more oil, so that we can fill the gap on the issue of the oil and energy sector. But how supportive is the Department of Energy when in this energy contingency plan as under the current leadership?
They are very supportive, Jerome. No? Again, we at the very outset, I already said we're lauding the DOE
Mm-mm.
because they're very open-minded, and we're so happy that they're looking at all possible alternatives and measures. So we're working with them and giving them recommendations as well. So keep it up, but of course, at some point in time, Jerome, our measures need to be drastic, no, to reduce oil consumption.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it there at the oil supply there. But because the country is considering, and I think the Philippine government through Department of Energy is starting to roll out what we call renewable energy. So, uh, uh, how do you see the movement now when it comes to green energy or the renewable energy? So, do you think we have achieved energy independence as of now, Attorney Layog?
Not yet, Jerome. We are headed towards that. No? The Department of Energy for the last 2 years has conducted a lot of green energy auctions, and there are more to come this year. The transition is happening in the sense that more and more renewable energy plants are getting built. And because the government, particularly the DOE, no, and the Energy Regulatory Commission, have been pushing for these reforms and programs. So hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 years, you'll see more renewables in the energy mix and reduce our reliance on conventional fuel.
Mm-mm. And speaking of renewable energy, and I read that Senator Win Gatchalian proposed that electric vehicle in the country must be seriously considered amid the rising gas prices and also the tension in the Middle East. So, what is the position of the PERPI on this proposal? Do you have studies to back the lawmakers' position when it comes to electric vehicle?
Jerome, definitely we should move towards more utilization of EVs. No? I speak from experience,
Mm.
Jerome. I drive an electric vehicle, no?
Mm.
And I have not been buying gasoline.
All right. That's
you know, in
interesting.
one,
Yeah. Uh, what's the
yeah,
experience of driving a electric vehicle compared to gas powered?
it's like driving a toy. You know, it's the same power that you get, but quiet. No, you don't need to gas up. I have a
Mm,
plug-in electric vehicle, and it works. No,
mm,
that's why when I saw the oil prices going up, I was not too worried because I'm using an electric vehicle. And then I can easily plug in whenever I need it.
mm, mm,
And then also you have a lot of malls still offering free charging, you know, for electric vehicles. So I'm not buying. No? There's no cost to me,
mm, mm, mm,
fuel cost. If only everyone was doing it, then we wouldn't be worrying about oil prices going up.
I
So
see.
it's really a good time.
Okay. But is there any concern on the electricity side because as we know electricity particularly power plants uses energy or oil energy.
Yeah, there's a way to mitigate it, Jerome. When you plug your vehicle, if you have a solar system in your house,
Mm-mm.
you're not using electricity. No, you're also using solar.
Yeah, right.
So that's the model now. No? And the government, this is why I'm hoping especially Congress, will provide incentives, no, to all households to put up solar systems in their rooftops because that will reduce the need for electricity from the grid. At the same time, we can tap into renewables. So even if you increase utilization of electric vehicles, the spike in electricity requirements will not be so much if we have more solar rooftop systems.
And I think the future is bright in this renewable source of energy such as the solar power, solar energy, the electric vehicles. So it's the future is very bright, and we hope the energy department will consider that supporting and you mentioned incentivizing the industry so that more people can use that and able to save energy and then eventually money. All right. Before I let you go, Attorney Layug, we have an interesting discussion regarding this one since we are facing the Middle East crisis situation right now, and this situation will it seems it doesn't it's endless to be exact. So in light of the crisis in the Middle East, so is it high time now to reduce dependency on oil and switch to alternative source of energy, attorney?
Actually, we've been pushing for that, no, even during my time.
Mm-mm.
And the DOE has been pushing for that as well. No? The only challenge really is in terms of oil and gas exploration, we have not found really large oil deposits from which we can draw upon. No? So that's always the challenge. So knowing that we don't have a lot of oil deposits, the other alternatives can be considered, particularly electric vehicles. That's really the major option, no, for transportation now. So at this time, pending finding any oil, no, in the Philippines, we should consider other alternatives. No? But electric vehicle is one. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I hope Congress will pass a law that will provide incentives to the households to put up more solar systems. Now, that will help reduce as well the need for electricity from the grid.
Okay, and the future now is in the renewable energy. All right, very well said, Edna. We have an interesting discussion. We hope we have more discussion regarding this one and also the situation here in the Middle East. So we will have to reach out to the institute regarding this particular matter. Thank you so much, the executive board member, Attorney Jose Layug Jr. of the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute of the University of the Philippines.
Thank you, Jerome.
Okay, and that was Attorney Jose Layug Jr., the executive board member of the Philippine Energy Research and Policy Institute of the University of the Philippines. And with that, front and center, we'll be right back. We will have to deliver more developments here in the Philippines as the program returns after these short messages.
Mabilisang trivia, dagdag talino. Heto na ang Dagling Kaalaman.
Alam nyo ba na tuwing ikalawang linggo ng Oktubre, ipinagdiriwang natin ang National Mental Health Week? Diniklara ito sa bisa ng proklamasyon bilang 452 noong 1994 upang palawakin ang kamalayan tungkol sa kahalagahan ng mental health. Mahalaga ito dahil, tulad ng ating pisikal na kalusugan, kailangan ding alagaan ang ating isip at damdamin. Kaya ngayong Oktubre, maglaan ng oras para kumustahin ang sarili at ang mga mahal sa buhay. Tandaan, ang malusog na pag-iisip ay pundasyon ng mas masayang buhay.
Kaunting kaalaman na malaking dagdag talino. Abangan muli ang susunod na Dagling Kaalaman.
Say no.
Yung pagkalat ng fake news. And some of it's dangerous.
Sana iwasan po natin pagsispread ng fake news.
At di magpapakalat ng disinformation at misinformation ang kasulukuyang administrasyon.
Stop telling us fake news because you're wrong.
Para sa totoo at mapagkakatiwalaang mga balita at impormasyon, Radyo Pilipinas.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key. Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad. Hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan. Kilatisin ang sarili, ang kahandaan sa manibela. Siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala. Importante rin na ating laging isipin, init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin. Bagkus, kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Public service announcement
From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And we're down to a few minutes of our program, but we'll read some developments here in the Philippines, particularly in the Middle East crisis that is currently affecting not just globally but locally, but specifically here in the Philippines, because Malacanang said the national government has enough funds to deal with the economic impact of the Middle East crisis and has no plans for now to borrow or lend from international lending agencies. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro made that statement after being asked whether the administration is considering new foreign loans to support measures addressing the global oil price surge. Yusek Castro said the matter has not been discussed, adding that Finance Secretary Frederick Go confirmed there is no plan at this time to seek additional financing. The government is currently rolling out several interventions to cushion the impact of rising fuel prices, and that includes fuel subsidies for public utility drivers and a proposal to temporarily reduce excise tax on petroleum products once global prices breach the $80 per barrel threshold. And starting next week, public utility vehicle drivers are set to receive 5,000 Philippine pesos in fuel assistance sourced from the DSWD, or Department of Social Welfare and Development's Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation Program. And Social Welfare Secretary Rex Gatchalian earlier mentioned or said that President Marcos Jr. ordered the agency to earmark 30 billion Philippine peso, nearly half of the social safety net budget for this year 2026 as initial response funding. And global oil markets have been volatile in recent weeks because of the tensions happening in the Middle East, including concerns over possible disruption in key shipping routes such as Strait of Hormuz. And Malacanang assured the public that the government continues to monitor global developments closely while implementing measures to protect consumers and vulnerable sectors from the impact of rising fuel prices. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. certified, because we have mentioned about the excise, or the his appeal to Congress to certify as urgent the measures suspending the excise tax on oil. And now President Marcos has certified as urgent a bill that would allow him to temporarily suspend or reduce excise taxes on petroleum products during national or global economic emergencies. And that move comes as fuel prices continue to climb amid the volatile global oil markets, driven by escalating tensions in the Middle East and fears of disruption in key supply routes such as Strait of Hormuz. That's the passageway or body of water for about 1/5 of the world's oil. And in a letter sent to House Speaker Faustino D. III, the President endorsed the House Bill number 8418 for immediate passage, saying the measure would enable the government to respond quickly to extraordinary fuel price spikes and help stabilize domestic prices during periods of severe economic disruption. And the proposed tax adjustment is part of the administration's broader contingency plan to address the impact of the ongoing Middle East crisis. And President Marcos earlier assured the public, that any excise tax suspension would be temporary. And this week, the diesel, gasoline, and kerosene prices jumped by around 10 pesos or 10 Philippine pesos per liter after Iran blocked portions of that body of water, heightening concerns over global supply. So, and as the trend is, as I read the trend of the oil prices for this month, it is expected to the price that price will climb for certain amounts. So we have to wait and see how much will oil companies will increase their fuel products. So but nonetheless, the increase in the oil prices is affecting if not all, most of the sectors here in the country. So we will have to wait and see. And it's a good thing that the government is on top of the situation, as the government is trying everything they can to address the looming effects of the oil crisis, or the Middle East crisis rather, that affects our economy. So we will have to wait and see on that. And with that, we now conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our technical team, headed by Mr. Milo Junella. On Warcast and audio streaming, we have Mr. Hiro Lucero, and also to our intern on the program, Mr. Adrian Gregorio. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.